What can I say of a man who's considered the greatest painter of his generation? And how do you describe a person who at the age of 85 has changed his profession? To say that he's unusual or exceptional is a bit of a cliche. Perhaps you should judge for himself. He's my guest today. His name is Maqbool Fida Hussain. Hussain Saab, I have to say to you that your friends say, your biographer says, that M F Hussain isn't God's creation, he's created himself. That depending on his mood, he changes his story to suit himself.
You know, the events which happened in my life, is they were so fascinating. It almost looked like a film script, you know. Just, you know, I can going, there is a meeting an accident by the car, and it happens that the driver takes me to his, you know, owner, and then there I go, and he says, I'm looking for you, I wanted to buy a painting. I sold a painting instead of that. But it really happened.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning of what you call this film script life. You claim that you were born on the 17th of September 1915, but I know you made that date up yourself. Why did you choose that date?
In 1952, I had to go to, for the first time I was going abroad to China, and for the passport, you needed the date. So I just imagined, let me have September, because I seen the film come September. So that September, then I say, what the date? The 17, the sweet 17 September. And year, I said 1915. So I could be 5 years, 2 years younger or 2 years older.
Your father was a timekeeper in a textile mill, and after that an accountant. Before that your grandfather, I believe, was a tinsmith. What sort of family were you born into?
It was a very middle class family in Pandharpur, in Maharashtra. That's a town which is where people have the Vithoba temple. And so, just we don't. You know, my grandfather, he in the house there was no electricity, no light. My father used to study on the street lamp, under the street lamp, and that's why, you know, in my paintings also, you see the significance of the lamp. The light is always there, and I was born, you know, premature birth, and I was almost kept in a cotton. So one night my mother was seen taking seven rounds, like Babur doing for him, Humayun, you know, to pray that her life, when we were offering her life so that I can live long. But I still think...
And it worked, didn't it? Forgive me interrupting.
And it worked because I was 1.5 years, and she died.
She had a lasting impact on you because the mother is one very important element of Hussain painting. But is that why the mother in your paintings never has a face? Because you can't remember your own mother's face?
Because she refused to get herself photographed, so there is no photograph. And that's why when I met Mother Teresa, so that is, I was so moved by that. And I started painting. For the last 20 years I have done paintings on Mother Teresa, but I never painted her
But
face.
every time you paint a Mother Teresa, do you have at the back of your mind your own mother?
My own mother.
Yet you don't remember her?
Yeah.
You have no memory of your mother?
No, because 1.5 years, how can you remember? Yeah.
After your mother died, and you were 1.5, you were really brought up by your grandfather.
Yeah, he really, he loved me so much. So I was, up to the age of 8 and 9, I used to be all the time with him.
There's a story that when he was dying, he called for you.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened?
Yes, I know. I was playing outside, so the family, they said, you know, his soul is not coming out, something is happening, better leave the boy there, and just like. So I was sitting next to my dying grandfather, and he just opened his eyes, and there was I saw one tears coming out of it, and he pulled from under the pillow one note, 10 rupee note, and he gave it to me.
And that figure 10 has always had a great significance, hasn't it?
Yeah, I know. The first painting which I sold in 1933 in Indore for 10 rupees landscape. And in 1984, 86, there was a big auction in Bombay. One painting went for 10 lakhs.
So this is in a sense the gift of your grandfather, isn't it?
So I still think, but that you know, what you call the excitement which I got, that 10 rupees when I sold the paintings in 1933, this 10 lakh didn't give me that gift.
Sadly, your grandfather was dead when you were able to strike out as an artist. That only happened in the 1930s. But when you went to Bombay, life wasn't by any means easy.
No,
And the painting you did wasn't on canvas.
No, because the thing is, I was at Indore, you know, so I asked my father, I said, let me go to Bombay, but he said he couldn't, you know, support me. I said, it doesn't matter, let me, because future is there. So I went there and I said, just to earn my living, nobody would know, nobody would buy my painting. Even I was very, you know, so perfect in painting portraits. In 15, 20 minutes, I used to paint exact lifelike portraits. So I went round in the street, in the Crawford Market, and I see somebody and go and say, can I paint your portrait? So I used to do the portrait for 10 rupees, 15 rupees. In 1936,
But you
37.
did something else as well. You also used to paint film stars on cinema hoardings.
After that, but you know, that was so, because everybody who would ask me to do a portrait, they would like to have their cheeks rosy and all that. So that was so boring. So I said, no, it's better I do the cinema hoarding, because my love for cinema, I was so crazy about cinema.
Now, when you did these cinema hoardings, you must have been, what, 19, 20, 21?
Yeah.
Was it scary to be on a scaffolding painting at that great height?
No, not at all, because I never felt that. Even when I did the 80 feet long mural in Delhi in 1964, it was, I used to climb this scaffolding, holding brush in my mouth, and the bowl, color bowl, you know, and one holding the scaffolding.
The adventure was as important as the painting.
Yeah, I said, doesn't matter. They said you must tie up something for safety. I said, if you tie me up, I won't have the freedom of moving from top to bottom.
In
And I
fact,
like a monkey. They said, I must have the monkey's gland in me.
in fact, a free spirit is what you really were in those early days, because I gather you used to live literally on the pavement outside Novelty Cinema on 4 or 6 annas a day.
Yeah, 6 hours per day. I had to, and they wouldn't, you know, where I used to work, they would let me paint the faces. They said, no, it is not, it's not, it is the realistic art. The face should be exactly like that. So for 2-3 months I worked there, just to know the thing. And then I started taking orders, going to the distributors. And I was painting in those days Segal and all, you know.
In those early days, when you were still doing cinema hoardings, you met outside Novelty Cinema the lady who became your mother-in-law, and you also met through her your future wife. How did that happen?
She used to see from the one choice, she was a widow, very poor, and then one day she called me. She says, you have no house, why don't you come and eat? You have your meals here, and give me some money, and you'll also get the homemade food. So the first time I felt that image of the woman, of a mother, okay, somebody cared for me. So after 4-5 months, and then I decided I should marry her daughter. I used to see her, but in those days it was never used to meet, we never talked to each other, you know.
Okay, but you got married in the 30s, yet you really 40s, but you only became a famous painter right at the end of 47 after independence.
After independence, yeah. But the way I continued doing this, then in the 47, with, you know, the fervor of the independence, which also, you know, I was so enthusiastic. Now we are entering into a new era, the whole country. Right from the beginning, I was concerned about my country, and this domination, foreign domination, used to, you know, all this in the paintings, you know, all this Royal Academy style of work. I used to hate that.
So that's when you created the M F Hussain style, a uniquely Indian and a uniquely personal style.
That is when 1947, first time I exhibited, and that one painting is, I called it Sunehra Sansar.
Golden age.
It was a golden age. So that's how my really that's the beginning of my golden age.
And thereafter, you've been one of the most famous painters
and
the
what
country's
happened
had.
when I showed those paintings, there was a group, it's called Progressive Artist Group, where Raza, Souza, Ara, all these were there. They saw the painting, who is this painter? And they invited me to become a member, and after that, no looking back.
Okay, no looking back is absolutely correct. But look back in a sense on something else. How much of your fame is because you had a wife who helped you keep a home, look after your children, and gave you the freedom to develop as an artist?
Yeah, because it's always when I, about 6 years, you know, we were married. So I told my wife, now I'm giving her everything. I'm going into this, just I'll paint, and I may not be able to even look after the house, because I like to go round the world, though I had no means at that time.
And what did she say?
So, poor lady, what she said, what else could she say?
But she supported you,
But she totally supported.
and she brought up the family on
Yeah,
her own.
not one, she had 6 children to bring up.
But yet, I believe in 1956, you met a lady called Marie Yaroslav Zurkova, and you
yeah.
fell in love with her and wanted to marry
Yeah,
her.
and then with the consent of my wife.
With the consent of
With
your
the,
wife.
I told that, because my wife, because there was, I never kept anything, whatever I was to do, I openly do it. I said, I'm in love with that, because when I went in 56 to Prague on this government exchange in art and exhibition, there I met, she was an interpreter, and she was what you call a doctorate in theology. So she was very much interested in Dr. Radhakrishnan's, all the, you know.
So she was the complete opposite in a sense of your wife.
Completely.
But
And
did your wife
through
object?
that, I'll tell you, that's how, you know, because then my wife said, if you are so much, you should marry her. So, but the thing is, I couldn't marry the, what you call the Jurkava there unless I'm divorced. That is the, so even my wife agreed to it, says, you give me a divorce, you get her, you married to her, and then I'll marry again.
But it never happened in the end.
In the end, because then even I bought the wedding dress from London. I went to Prague. I used to go to Prague every year for 6 years. This continued, and then one day she said, Maria said, you know, then what I, in that exhibition which I had the first, there were about 34 paintings of 1956 paintings, very important, and museum wanted to buy it. But I didn't sell because Maria said, these are the paintings, I wish I could have it.
And you gave
But
them all to her.
So I gave an entire show of it.
Hussain Sahib, I'm going to take a break there. I want to come back and talk about the paintings that you've done, not just the ones you've given Maria, but the paintings that have really made you famous and the style that you developed, which is uniquely yours. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. Stay with us. Welcome back. My guest is Maqbool Fida Hussain. Hussain Sahib, you once said of yourself that you must be the most misunderstood man in India. What did you mean?
I think it's very normal. It happens because what new, because this is a whole progressive artist group. We are trying to find a language which is based on us, a new language of painting.
And you mean that language was one that people couldn't easily understand?
Not even the scholars here, they didn't understand.
Let me put something to you. People say that one reason why Hussain Sahib is so misunderstood is because he often resorts to gimmicks. And these gimmicks are difficult for other people to understand.
Yes, because when you do something new, after the whole of Renaissance, when these people came Impressionism, so the way all the society people they reacted so violently.
You mean it's a reaction?
They said this is almost like, because after seeing those browns and and the split of color in the Impressionist school, they say it's like throwing a bowl of color on the face of the spectacle.
Let me pick a small factor in your own life. People say that for years he used to go around barefoot. Yeah. That was a gimmick.
Again, this is for health reasons, because there were of course there. In the whole of the south, you go to the Mysore University, at the convocation, all the students of graduates, they come all the barefoot. Is it about 70 or maybe 60, 70% of the people in India, they go barefoot.
So you were identifying with the people, you weren't
That's what
making a
yeah,
point.
that's what I said. That was the reason. Not that.
In Jahangir Art Gallery, you held a famous Shwetambari
Yeah,
exhibition where you draped the walls with white sheets.
white
People
sheet.
said it was a gimmick. A
Because
little later at the Tata
Maka,
Center in Calcutta,
this is again I was referring to our own culture, which these the trouble is the ignorance of the learned people, which is more dangerous. They know what it is, but they just didn't want to admit it. They said why? Their egos are hurt.
so it's Western critics that don't
Yeah,
understand
they
Indian
don't.
culture who criticize
Of
you?
course, that's what these 20% of the people who has a Western Orient education, their point of reference is there, Shakespeare and all these things. And you go to the 80% of the people in India who are so steeped in our culture, and that culture, folk and travel is still, what you call, it's a living
And
way
they
of life.
understand MF Hussain?
Yeah, once I took the whole Ramayan painting into the village, and there is not one question. You just put on a stone of a piece of stone, just orange color, and they say this is Hanuman.
Okay, let me give you another example of
Yeah,
the sort of things people say.
yeah.
People say that MF Hussain responds to developments far too quickly and therefore he's responding without artistic depth. Every cyclone, every earthquake, every assassination, he does an immediate painting.
This is what you. Then I did one experiment in 1968. I put 6 canvases on the floor, and for 6 days I was painting, and simultaneously one was very big canvas and small, and not that I'll finish one and go to the second, but all the 6 were doing. I said, this is you can control you have that capacity to work on 6, 7 levels at a time. Human mind is by far, what are these,
So in other words,
now,
when you respond so quickly,
yeah,
you're stretching and challenging yourself.
and because after painting for 50, 60 years, and now you're going for what you call, you don't have to think in the split of the second you can do it.
Some people say that what he's actually doing is not challenging himself, he's reacting a bit like instant coffee. This is instant art.
The whole universe was created with a bang. What is that? All great inventions, even in the scientific, it is by accident. An accident, it happens, and it depends upon the person who knows that what he got it, so he captures it.
Does this sort of comment, this sort of criticism upset you and hurt you, or are you now impervious to
No,
it?
no, no, because the thing is, these things will go on because history has proved you're never recognized in your own time.
Not even MF Hussain?
Not even ever, because even that's one of my friends. I'm known for the wrong reasons.
What
I'm
reasons
famous
would
for
you,
the wrong reasons.
what reasons would you like to be known for?
That is uh, because what I have. It's very difficult to tell you. I just give one example how I evolved this new form of painting, which in 1951, 48, when I showed that film. So there was a German critic. He said this is what a new language is involved in. And there what I did, I took the female, the classic form from the Gupta period, the sculpture, and the color of Basholi, which has very raw colors there, and the classical form, and then the color form there, and the innocence of the folk. So I made these 3 combinations.
And you're very proud of this new language
Yeah,
of art.
it has become uh, that one. I should not say it. You ask anybody what has happened.
Okay, you're about to do something else that's very new and very different. You've just made a movie at the age of 85. You're the director, and it stars Madhuri Dixit, and it's called Gaja Gamani. But what made you make this major change at this late age?
Again, it's not a change. It is the continuation of my whole lifetime's work. And because, again, the painting this the medium is great, but now it's the new age. The cinema, the film. The cinema is the most dynamic medium of our age.
Do you see cinema as painting in another way?
Yeah, it's the most dynamic medium, though it is misused, or they are using it in a different. But like what the Satyajit Ray or Kurosawa, I think what in the cinema, I think no other, not even, because just incorporate all the art, the music, the sound, the movement, everything is there.
It's the full complete
It's the
art.
full complete.
Unlike painting, which is only a small
yeah,
portion.
And,
So-
and the reach of it is so wide, it can reach the millions.
Okay, so now as you
So-
look at the future, what is the challenge you set? To stay a painter, or are you now going to be a film director?
I'm a painter, but I'm using the painting, I'm translating those painting into another dynamic medium. I'm changing just the medium, but the concept, the approach, the attitude towards creativity is the same.
And in fact, Gajagamani, in a sense, is M F Hussain's painting in
That's the point.
cinematic form.
That's what I think. It's a
So
cinematic.
then, in that sort of new cinematic form, what's the role of Madhuri Dixit and Shah Rukh Khan and Nasiruddin Shah?
Shah Rukh Khan, Madhuri is the main, because they the body language of her, which is, I think, out of this world, and which is so Indian, which even what you call Ashok Kumar, with the Doyen of Indian cinema, he said that Indian cinema has never seen such a complete actress. So this is which I noticed. Though and that too just about 4 or 5 years back, I've never seen her film or nothing.
And you've used her to enhance the Hussain message.
Yeah, that message of the woman, the image of the woman, which is throughout it is the mother or the wife or the whatever, it is the image of the woman, which is again a sense of Indian culture, is the Shakti, the power, which is of the woman.
And now, Hussain Saab, at the age of 85, as you look back on your life, what's your judgment on yourself?
I think it is the whole the body of the 60, 70 years of life and whatever I've done. I think it was there is no regret. I think it was sheer ecstasy.
Sheer ecstasy.
Sheer ecstasy.
Hussain Saab, on that note, thank you very much for this interview.
Yeah.